started. Well, we should be audible now. Hello?
Hello.
Let's see here. We should be all starting up and set up.
Yep. Let us know if you guys can hear us. Or if you can hear me.
E. Alrighty. Welcome to the art team office hours. I am Aegis Wolf, and this is Rushen of the Resonite art team.
Sounds good. Always remember, if you guys want to ask a question or if you want to know anything, just send a message in chat with a question mark and we will get to it when we can. Big delay. Is the audio desynced?
Shouldn't be.
Might just be on their end.
Interesting.
Well, it has definitely been a month between, holidays, people traveling, and a bunch of other things going on.
Yeah, I realized what they were talking about.
Yeah.
To reflect what Fruit said, look at the tag. No, just no. Rue, do you even know what it is?
I do.
Okay, good. All I'm gonna say for those that don't know, it's cursed. That's all. And to answer your second question about my voice, I'm just soft spoken.
It just is always soft spoken.
I just am.
I can sometimes get loud if I get excited about something, but
Yeah, same here.
a
Well,
lot of the time I just like, especially if I don't know what to say or don't have anything to input. Most of the time, I'm just content with being quiet.
yeah. As for today, it's, well, actually, in regards of this week, just been going through, well, essentially working on currently fixing uh, an issue that's been happening in the tutorial right now, and that's pretty much on our top priority. Ravy and a few others on the team have been troubleshooting a problem where users, when they load into the tutorial world, the intro sphere that is an overlay does not disappear when it launches. And it's actually something we've been trying to fix for like 3 or 4 times, and this is pretty much the fifth time doing it. So originally it was a fire on true protoflux node within it that didn't fire, and then we switched to using a fire while true in it, as well as changing the, what was it, the loading or high prioritization checkbox,
Hmm.
which is something that you rarely would use, and this is like one of the only like cases you would use it. I'm trying to remember where it was. So if I just make a box, for example, oh, high priority integration. Okay, yeah. If people wanted to know what this high priority integration does, it tries to make it load in a more, or make it load in a higher queue, or yeah, yeah, higher priority in a queue of loading in a world. So yeah, and it fixed some cases, but we still have some cases where it still happens. And likely, I'm gonna do some more tests and then see if there's like a coding side of things that has to be done too. But
I wonder
other
if
than
we could somehow like add it as part of the initialization mesh for things, because like I know it tries to prioritize that above other things as well.
or at least have it uh, the same priority. Because if it's like
Hmm.
attached to it, it might move with the user on that point. So yeah, that'll have to be looked at. The other thing we've been doing too is starting to gather all the previous like GitHub issues that have been about the current tutorial, Cloud Home, etc., and kind of like organizing it into like collection of like types of feedback and stuff, while also setting the different goals and scope of the new tutorial experience. I can even go in and like read out the different scope and goals for the new tutorial experience as well too.
Yep. We actually have a few like tutorial based things on the back burner as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully whenever we get those a little bit more fleshed out, we can start showing them off to people.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely putting a lot of thought into it. Like H was talking about those GitHub issues. We've got like a different issue for each one of those that we have kind of categorized a lot of feedback about tutorials into those versions. Um, One of the ones that we were working on recently, which is the like super beginner tutorial. This is like how to teach uh, someone's parent to use a game or to play a game in general, and some of the things that we had to think about going into like how to teach someone to even get on Resonite from that point of view. Um, you have to teach stuff like how to position your hand on the keyboard if you want to play desktop comfortably, because a general person is just gonna, put their hands QWERTY style and they're gonna have the keyboard set up in front of them. But a lot of people who play video games or desktop games more often, they have the keyboard very, to the very off to the side on the left, big space for the mouse, and that may not be something that someone is thinking about whenever they're going to play a game. So to make it more comfortable, we wanted to include something like that kind of level of detail into the beginner tutorial.
Yeah. And like this is like the main kind of points that we want to do when looking through this. Basically, making it friendly to both people that are new to the platform and potentially new to VR in general. Making it easy for people to kind of skip through if they're already familiar with like the very fundamentals of VR as well too.
And again, this is just one of them. This one is not meant to have everything in it. It definitely is gonna. It's missing a lot of stuff, but you can't you can't throw everything at someone at once. So this is as much as we could fit into a module or like a tutorial thing that we wanted to do for someone's like initial interaction with a
Yeah.
VR game in general, not just Resonite, but the controls, the interactions with the menus and stuff. So
Yeah.
um,
And we're making two different tutorial experiences, one geared towards more of our like business, educational, governmental like clients, and the underlying tech, like the protoflux, the components that create the modularity of the different kind of like goals within the tutorial, will be shared across both of them, as well as having things like user choice for the actual platform tutorial being important, because there's users that know the fundamentals and would like to learn a lot of this stuff on their own or with like a friend or a mentor or whatnot, or saw it through videos or streams and all that, and just want to get right into the the meat and potatoes of the platform, whether it be joining worlds, playing games, getting an avatar. They'll have the ability to basically, after the fundamentals of like, this is how you use the software to like navigate things. You can skip some of that if you want, and if you know how to skip it too, and then learn what or choose where you want to go from there. And things like making it modular, making it narrative and kind of immersive to it. There's even things like lore implications and stuff like that would be really fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like one of the main things we've started doing a lot more extensively now. Other than like tutorial things, been working on refurbishing and updating the universe experience, if you remember an old experience that we had in a prior platform. Luke's project of the universe is, to kind of summarize, it's like a experience to see the scale of objects in the universe, from subatomic particles to the entire observable universe and anything in between. And it kind of is like a sort of interactive educational experience, but also kind of like showcasing what you can do in VR in a sense of like visualizing things. You can even do things like put in items that are like either real or fictional in it, set the scale of something, and then have it be added into your session of the experience relative to other objects in it. Like, for example, if you put like a Death Star or a Halo ring, type in the actual like diameter of it or the length of it, and then you'll see
And you
it
can
like
compare it to the moon and stuff.
the moon, Earth, the sun, or like a real world location or a like an object. You can just set it up, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
In the past, we had a system as well where if the object had an associated wiki link, you could get more information on the object you were currently looking at um, by clicking on it, and it would open a link and a page actually to the actual wiki for that object. Uh, we hopefully want to get that system back up running again. I think some tweaks we need to do with it, but it
Yeah,
was cool when we had a. It was even like a panel that would display the information.
yeah. Ryubi's gonna be going through and updating the visuals of the UIX as well too. They already did the main visuals of the initial like UIX. It looks really nice, but I kind of wanna. I think we should save it once we actually have it all done.
Mm-hmm.
I do
Also, I wanted
see.
to answer a question here. This one. I'm gonna position that one for the camera.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So, Nuki is basically asking: is there going to be more materials, or can they request materials? Um, I mean, in general, we don't really take requests for content because then we would be like filling that up 24/7. But if we make content, that content is under a what was the license? It was like
CC
CC
by
BY.
4.0.
Yeah, which basically means that you can take the stuff that we've made and use it for your own work, either in here or out of platform. Actually, so any of the textures that anyone on the art team makes, unless stated otherwise, you're able to use those. At least like the stuff we make for official things.
Yeah.
So like dunes here, the materials that I made for it, like the sand, the rock, the building materials, all that stuff. You can use those, and you can use them in your builds, and you can use them in commercial stuff. Like it's fine. Um,
And
so
I'd like to mention, we updated the submission process for adding content to the essentials. It's simply if you have a folder of stuff, like a specific set of, like, say for example, materials, you put it into a GitHub repo, and like all you gotta do is put an URL of it and what it is. Then we just pretty much look through, add it, and then there you go. And
yep,
yeah, simple as that. And we pretty much would treat it just like any other like world upload. If you update the world in like if you already previously published a world, if you update that world, it'll update it for the platform. Same thing with the folders in the essentials as well. And you can also put in a mention of like, hey, where do you want to put this folder, whether it be a game or a material or an asset, stuff like that. And say if you want to even specify what kind of like license it is in too, or there be CC BY, CC0, you know, yeah,
with the other context as well about like a different kind of PBS. At that instance, it wouldn't be a material; it would be a shader. And right now, we can't really add or change any of the existing shaders or add new ones because we still need to get through the rendering engine switchover.
yeah. To kind of like summarize for those that aren't familiar, we are currently using two engines to run Resonite. The Unity one is just for rendering. But this is not what we want to use in the end game, where we also use a underlying engine that runs all the mechanics, the networking, and all that. That's Fuchs engine. And Fuchs engine, ironically, was a plugin for Unity. Now it's the other way around. Ever since the splitting, it pretty much became Unity became a renderer plugin that is running off of a thing, kind of like a two halves of a computer program where you got Renderite, which handles the rendering, and you got Resonite, which is, well, what we're in right now. And Renderite is what you see. So, if we add new shaders or new changes to these shaders, we would have to then make sure when we go into the new like whatever rendering engine we do, the number one priority for swapping and requirement for swapping that is feature parity, because we don't want to break anybody's stuff when like updating things. That's like one of the biggest philosophies of Resonite is future proofing as much as we possibly can. And having there is one thing though that'll likely happen before in regards of shaders or materials to uh, what we have now is a shader consolidation. And what that means is we got all the actually I can just go in here, just give you an example. We have all these shaders or material types that deal with like physically based rendering. Now imagine not having to worry about like selecting which one you want to do. Just have like a Swiss Army knife of a PBS metallic, one of, or specular. You can probably even switch which one it is. And think of like an unlit material. The Zexy material that we have right now will probably be its own one, anyways. And any
Mm-hmm.
other very niche ones will be their own as well. But kind of like deduplicating things where it can, and then just adding them onto like kind of similar to how amplify shaders work in Unity or Poyomi, where
Or
it's
Blender.
like, yeah, or Blender, where you can have like all these different parameters on one.
Until we can get those that rendering engine, any changes, even if they're like small, to the shader would need to have it all recompiled, and
Yeah,
that takes like just doing the recompiling of the shaders takes months. Like even even after fixing the issues with them, the actual action of compiling them takes months, which is a lot. And
yeah,
then, like I just said, we have to worry about feature parity. So
yeah,
a lot of issues dealing with those are going to be waiting until we can get the renderer set up.
yeah. And the consolidation means you have to have less, or you have less shaders to compile, because instead of like what, like 30 or so, or 40, you have like 7 at most. That's like one, almost like 1/5 or 1/8 of what you need.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a few more questions too. Okay, so we already got that one. Uh, okay, here's a good question, and I think Fruks answered this as well on their stream as well. And that is, what can we do to push more standardization so things we make are more likely to work together? So, um, this is one thing that I thought of too when building my content in general, for my like personal projects even, is making it as modular as you can, and like having these states where, okay, is this part of the asset or project interact with other things? Then at that point, for example, if it's like a combat system, or like a music visualization system, kind of like Audio Link, as people compare it to, where it would take different values that are in the world. One way you could do that is have Protoflux that reads those multiple variable names at once, and it kind of like sees which one it sees in a world, and then just use that, and then like swap between them, because there's going to be cases where people will have their own variable names regardless. But within the Resonite wiki, there are lists of variable names and standards that people have made in the community so that people can
Mm-hmm.
share for their own systems. There's no problem, like, going through and adding multiple variables on there, but it's probably best to kind of look at those to kind of see what's popular.
Yeah, my opinion would be to just like take a look at what the community is making and what you're making, see if things line up, and see if someone has already made what you're working on. Because if they did, then you can either add on to that thing, or if you want to completely make that thing anew, see what kind of stuff you can add to that concept, and then also make sure to share it. The more you can share like what you're working on and see what other people are working on, then that gives not only you but others an idea of how that thing's being made, how people are using it. Like Aegis was talking about the color labels that people use for their audio tracking or their audio visualization stuff. If you share stuff that has been made using those variables, people will see what you're using and probably use those as well. And the more something is adopted by the community, the more kind of standardized it becomes because there's more people using it. At the end of the day, I think standardization just comes from, community and like just working together. That one for now. There we go.
Ah, we have a new follow.
Oh,
Thanks for
thank
the
you for the follow.
follow, cat.
We do have a long one from
Oh, I'll get this one real quick too, from
oh,
Kashoti. This is in regards of like the narrative experience. Yes, back in the days of another platform, Fruks always wanted to make a interactive tutorial experience for new users coming into the platform. First, it was kind of like inspired by Portal-esque, where it's like you go through, you learn the things about the platform in a sense of puzzles you solve. We'll kind of lean into that a bit too, but add in the stuff that has evolved over time with the identity of the platform and the aesthetics and sticking to like the philosophies that Fruits had in regards of what the platform is about, while also showcasing the power of it too.
We did use a little bit of that narrative, or at least the interactive part of it, in the new one we're working on, the simplified one. One of the things we wanted to do was have people complete simple tasks in order to like gauge their knowledge of what they're doing, to like progress through the like beginners tutorial.
Yeah, there'll be more in regards of like how we'll set that up too, and ties to other future projects that we would like to do too. It's things like some of Fruits' old projects, like uh, Sightline and Paintline, and a few other like games that and experiences that Fruits has made. Will be pretty cool to see. Now, to kind of go over this long question here from Keister Blades, it's been interesting to me to watch the history of tracking tech for VR. Full body tracking was incredibly niche for a very long time until it became more standard. Now it's cheap and readily available, the same as in the process for face tracking, I think. Yes, technically. I remember when it was ridiculously niche, but now I'm watching the average user start using it and people are start using build avatars around it, being the niche selling point. That's part one. That's the preface of it. And part two, yeah, I'll just leave that too. What would you be personally interested in as seeing the next popular common thing to track, or even okay, what would you be personally interested in seeing as the next popular and common thing to track, or even a specific device instead of a body tracking thing? That is a good question. And quick thing about like the face tracking stuff, things like Babel. Uh, I actually recently got mine too. Although I won't be able to use it on this headset because I mean I already got the face tracking for the Viper Y. I could technically use it for the Index or Quest Pro, but I got a custom mount for the Steam frame, which has yet to come out. So I'm gonna wait to set that up once that's up. Um,
Honestly, like given what the question was asking, I think the next logical thing that people would want to track is like heartbeat and or like metabolic stuff,
yes,
because people use that for workouts. They use it for like games. Even the medical field is interested in that kind of stuff. That or like brain waves. Seeing like how someone reacts to some piece of thing or like content. Um,
heart
so there were
rate,
actually some,
definitely.
yeah, there were some like academics that wanted to use brainwave and heart rate stuff, like monitoring for um, what was it? It's for therapy, so they could like gauge people's responses to things, and see how they felt in certain situations. But it was for like
Psychological
use in
research
therapy. Yeah,
as well. There we
and
go.
then for the new device, honestly, I'm excited for Flux Pose. I think the
Oh
like
yeah.
magnetic tracking is definitely the way to go. Like not having to have line of sight. It's a very small form factor. They last for a while. We're still waiting on like our version or like the ones they're gonna send us.
Yeah. It'll take a bit for them to set up the manufacturing that. It took Babel quite a bit to get their stuff set up for sending it even to other like countries and that. As
Mm-hmm.
tech shortage. Even Valve is having that problem too, unfortunately. But personally, I think the next thing would be, and the technology is already there. In regards to like a lot of the headsets, it's pupil dilation. Personally, is like for my eyes, I can have like a very dark screen be like shown in front of me, and then my pupils will grow big. Or if I see something extremely bright, my pupils will be like really, really small. But I think it adds a lot because naturally,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk to people, we look at our eyes usually and we look at our pupils as well too. And having that being like a part of the technology is, I think, it's like one of those small details that eventually you'll notice and then you won't unsee it that like, you know, it's not there or that it's there and it's working or something like that. Because honestly, one thing I really, really wished that Meta would do is add pupil dilation to the Quest Pro. They never did. I requested it as well when they in their forums when they took down the request of like adding further features for their face and eye tracking. I added it again by adding even more features that they didn't, consider yet in that other one. So I don't even know the status of that, but knowing the Valve Steam frame has eye tracking, I don't know if it has pupil tracking. I know for sure it's using the eye tracking for mainly foveated streaming, and what that means is where you're looking at is more higher resolution and more detailed than where you're not looking when it's
Mm-hmm.
streaming data from a their radio device or whatnot, their dongle or computer. And if they don't have the capability of like pupil dilation at the start, they already have the software, like, or the hardware capability, I meant. And knowing their software is more open to even have access to the cameras themselves compared to this headset that I have, with it being like extremely locked down due to the Vive Pro I using Tobii eye tracking stuff, which is very proprietary, locked down, and patented. People had to go to jailbreaking it or essentially hacking this headset to get um the raw like visuals
The
for it.
tracking data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
I
even
mean,
just the camera feeds. That way you can have your own software tracking.
given with how like moddable some of the Valve stuff is, and the fact that it does have eye tracking means that it's got to have a camera in there somewhere. So I'm sure you could just get like some kind of plugin or another program to run like how people run OpenVR, and just have the extra tracking for the eye stuff if it doesn't do pupil tracking or things like that.
Yeah. And some of the other like devices that I do know that have this stuff, things like I know Vive is doing their own like setup for it, and I think it's been improving over time too. With their because they used to partner with Tobii Eye Tracking, they don't now, and they're doing their own kind of setup too. Same with how Valve is doing it. So I know they have like their newer headsets that have eye tracking and even a face tracking mount as well too. Things like the Vive Cosmo, or not Cosmos, but Focus 3. There we go. Has it.
It's also been interesting seeing people, or an increasing number of people, use face and eye tracking while on desktop.
Oh, and a Big Screen Beyond 2 has eye tracking version as well too. And it uses the actually two types of software that they want to use from what I know. One is the uh, iTrack VR software, which is open source that you can pretty much use now, and they want to make their own software as well to run on it too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a choice of which one you want to use.
Also, real
Also,
quick, because it's not a question, but it's context. You actually can just kind of buy the hardware. I think there's actually a company specifically for it. It's like OpenVR or something like that, where you can just like buy the stuff you need for it. And even if you wanted to do something like Google Cardboard, um, this is the kind of stuff people used to do back in the day with like Oculus and the DK1s and stuff. The components to make those things are still out there. Just need to do a little bit of research on how to put them together. In fact, it's a lot easier nowadays too because people have like libraries and plugins and GUIs for things. Back when I was messing with like the DK1, DK2, we didn't have any GUI. It was all you had to do it manually, everything.
Actually, yeah, computer user also mentioned too. Wyvern has foveated streaming thing right now too. That's pretty cool. And for those unfamiliar, Wyvern is a piece of software used for like a instead of using SteamVR on Linux, you would use Wyvern, and you can use things like even the Quest Pro or like the Vive Pro I or Vive Pro Index, etc. on Linux machines. Also, hello, Jack. I wish you luck for MMC. I know it's pretty much this week is the last week for MMC. It's pretty
Make
exciting.
sure make sure to take breaks.
Yes.
I know it's MMC. I know it's a challenge, but that should not come over your health. So make sure you're taking care of yourself, getting a good amount of sleep. You always work better with good sleep as well. Believe me and Aegis have learned that.
Alright, here's another question I would like to answer too. Is there lore to
Mhm.
Resonite? Yes, but a lot of it still needs to be fleshed out.
7.
Yeah, that's the answer. 7. Yeah, that too. Yeah, pretty much summarize like our thought process on it is like keeping the core fundamentals of like the idea of the platform, Brooks's previous works and notes and ideas for it too. It's quite a few of it. Ooh, hiccup was written down even like years ago, as well as like even more of it written down during when Resonite was in its testing phase too. But yeah, I guess in relation to lore and storytelling, Nuki-kun asks, thoughts on the role-playing character system that USFN uh, released a few weeks back? What might we change while it's in beta to make sure it's more usable?
I've not seen it.
I am not too familiar with it, but if it's like a kind of like similar to a D&D character sheet, making it like multiple pages where you can like put in information, stuff like that, and like stats, making it easy to like change like different stats or whatnot, or input certain information. I'd say use that, and also, like I said, with like content, um, uh, content standards, probably making sure it's modular as well too. That way, if you have part of it, you can just update it if there's new things there.
Mm-hmm.
And for quick clarification, uh, isn't Wyvern
There's a lot of things
Discord?
named Wyvern.
Yeah,
They're all spelled in funny different ways.
yeah. Wyvern. Okay. Again, this is the spelling of the VR software. WIVRN compared to Wyvern as in like the mythical two-legged dragon-like creature. The difference between a dragon and a wyvern is a dragon has 4 legs and wings. A wyvern has 2 legs and 2 wings. So technically, every single dragon in the game Skyrim is not a dragon, but wyverns, in technicality. And speaking of lore, pretty much those of us in the art team and even Fergus himself delved into and like are interested in like the deep lore of different stories, whether it be games, books, television, like
I absolutely love when
history.
people do when people do lore in environmental storytelling. And I mean, I guess we do have a little bit of environmental storytelling lore, with like the world orbs and the way the cloud home is set up, um, and the fact that like you kind of just see the world orbs in the like air at night. Um, and there was thought like behind that and what the islands and the like outskirts are and the structures that are out there and what they do. And it's not like anything written down, but it's all just like environmental storytelling where you can look at it and kind of just think about it, and in some cases make up your own interpretations of how it is. Elden Ring has a really good environmental storytelling that way as well.
I'm actually looking up the logo for Wyvern. Yeah, it is an actual dragon. Like, I'm gonna copy and then paste. Oh, it's even cut out too. So yeah,
That's a lot cuter than I thought it was going to
four
be.
legs, two wings, and those things on the head are just fins. So yeah, technically dragon. So they're right. It's not an actual wyvern. So it's the opposite problem of Skyrim. It's an icon of a dragon, but a wyvern has. Yeah, I'll just leave this little guy right here.
Did you want to go over some of like the environmental storytelling that we had with the cloud home? Like your thoughts on the like those beam towers and some of the structures in the background.
So when designing the art style in the beginning, we looked at multiple different sources, and you could probably like take inspiration from like what our thought process is too from these things. Like the number
Mm-hmm.
one thing that we looked at for reference is Myst, which is the classic point and click puzzle series that is like one of the most top selling computer games of all time still.
And Worlds Adrift.
Yes, and Worlds Adrift, but that is a different game series. That is uh, well, it was a platform or like a
It was an MMO, like
3D MMO
survival. Yeah, you could
that,
build airships, a lot of floating islands.
yes, regards of like the initial environment, yes, and the art style that the artist designed in that game had this like magic slash technology look to it, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
blending sci-fi and fantasy at the same time. It's like in previous projects or like even the previous platform had a more sci-fi look, and it was a bit more. I'm trying to think of the word. It's not sanitary, is the word.
Utilitarian, is that it?
That, but also sterile is the word I was
Yeah,
trying to look for. Like,
it was too sleek.
yeah, too sleek, and it felt not as welcoming to like new users. And what we also want to do too when we work on more of these projects is implement different art styles as well too in different locations if we
Mm-hmm.
if we can, because having this main art style of the what we dubbed the Dawn art style as like an anchor port or hub section of like what Resonite's identity is, and then also showing that like, hey, there's other worlds in Resonite. Everybody has been making worlds in their own style or using the Dawn style if they want to as well too. There's worlds that
Mm-hmm.
completely look nothing like this. Sometimes it's dark, gritty, scary looking to also like calm, relaxing, and like serenity kind of like feeling to them. Sometimes it might be a boring office world, or it might be chaotic battle scene, or Just an
There
island off of
was
the coast of somewhere.
there is one really fun thing about the Cloud Home Skybox. Um, there is an island in the background of it. Um, and when we were trying to like do concepts and stuff for the Cloud Home, I had made an island and did like a mock-up of what we can do for the Cloud Home. And that mock-up, the kind of like prototype Cloud Home, uh, kind of did survive as like a background island in that skybox. We I think we talked about this a little bit like amongst ourselves, but it would be fun to like go and make that concept home um, like an actual place people can go to and visit at some point because
Ideally,
it's a lot larger than just what the cloud home was. It was going to be huge.
yeah, ideally for the future, having users being able to choose what kind of cloud home they want as a default one, having some presets for, like, say, a lighter world, or one that has, like, a lot more interactivity, or, or even just a grid space if they want to. That would be something that'll be really useful for users. Uh, I am currently actually looking for that, like, original model. Let's see here. Dawn art style. Books. Congestion. It's gotta be somewhere. I had it. Okay, back. Oh no, that's just back up to the regular skybox itself. I found it. Voila.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, this thing. Regards to the
The first
layout.
kind of like model concept for it.
Yeah. As I'm looking close at this, let me turn on my headlights here too. You can see this thing is actually made out of individual shapes like boxes, cylinders, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Also being on a roughly modeled out island shape with crystals underneath. Slightly inspired off of Mist Island as well too. Got like a
Yeah.
tower up and a mountain there, and then a vista or a house overlooking a vista. Wrong thing here. There we go. Yeah. And like going through to kind of describe Mist in regards of its setting. It's like a kind of sci-fi fantasy kind of adventure too. The main premise is there's a group of people called the Denis, and they have these books, and these books are able to generate worlds by writing them into existence.
Well, no, it was a family. It was a father and his two sons, and him and his two sons, when they wrote in books, their writings became real. But they kind of got like power hungry and started, believing they were God. At least from what I got playing some
Yeah,
of them.
but the
I
premise
still have to finish
is
them.
like the family is derived from a people called the Denis, which basically had that power using like a special magical ink and special magical like paper or whatnot, and it would basically generate worlds, kind of like how you're putting in a seed of Minecraft or so.
Hmm.
It's kind of like how here, replacing the writing and the paper is the tools and the world orbs within Resonite. if you look in like the background of the default skybox, those stars in the sky are not stars. They're world
Yep.
orbs. That's why they're
You do have a few
multicolored.
questions, by the way.
Ah, yes. And kind of finish off on that, things like that beam tower in the skybox. Imagine that making a new world out of chaotic energy. That's why there's like a ball of like multicolored energy underneath it with like lightning coming out of it and all that, where it's like chaos, and then just uses that, creates a new world. Um, all right, let's kind of catch up here on some of the questions. This one, and also from Nuki-kun. Want to ask, do y'all like furry sci-fi? If you do, can you talk about what you like in furry sci-fi? I need a plan for the next couple of months of US event at the end of the week.
I mean, it's just normal sci-fi with animals. I
Yeah.
think like it's just generally sci-fi.
Look at examples of like different stories and lore in regards of like how they set
Origin
up.
lore is pretty good.
Oh yeah, that, and even the synths. Casualties Unknown is another game to look at for like sci-fi anthro
That one's a little
characters.
dark. Beware, though.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna premise too. But if you want like examples of sci-fi, would be that. Actually, same thing with the Protogen lore. That's also dark.
Yeah, somewhat.
This one is another question from Keystro Blades. Do you have current concepts of what the group home would look like? Not currently, but if I had it on hand, there is concepts of a new modular like set of pieces. There's like more like granular in regards of like what you can build, and also more like individual pieces. Like right now with the regular cloud home, you have like the wall and the floor being part of like a piece, but like having that separated, having different sizes of floors and walls, heights, lengths, and for like rounded walls, different radii for like circular walls and ceilings, things like that is being taken into account, as well as more verticality objects like ramps, stairs, and elevators or ladders. Even is like having the ability of course, for the uh, Cloud Home being more easy for users to navigate. There's a lot of verticality. If you're branded to VR, that is not really as friendly for new users. Whether it be climbing, going up a ramp, especially if you're teleporting, you teleport, you rotate, you teleport, you rotate, you teleport, you rotate. That's how you go up a ramp in teleport mode. And elevators is a whole nother ordeal. It's like, do you move the user? Do you parent the user to it? Do you fake the elevator by teleporting the user up?
And there's also issues with like parenting a user to an elevator that we tried to mitigate a little bit in Resmonic. Because some people have custom locomotions, or they use ones that if you parent them and reparent them, it breaks them. So trying to like think about a system that can account for a lot of that is a little complicated. I do like the elevators in Resmonic. Those fancy buttons and whatnot are cool.
This is more of a question for moderation, but it's like the Wave ISR asks, would you guys be mitigating not safe for work activity within Resonite? In regards of to kind of briefly go over the guidelines here. If you have adult content in a world, and also preface, if you want any more specific like information about this, do ask on Sundays for the moderation office hours. But essentially, it's allowed in private worlds because it's hosted on your own systems and your own hardware, as well as making sure that everybody is of age and consenting to seeing that content as well. That is the most important things you have to have in mind with
Basically,
it.
just read the guidelines and be responsible.
Yeah. And in regards of like mitigating it, there's no reason not to mitigate it except for basically being reactive to violations of guidelines, whether it be anything that shouldn't be in public worlds, anything that happens within private worlds that has been reported. That's all we really can do. It's
Yeah.
like we can't really mitigate it. It's like the same thing if people can make stuff in Blender or Substance Painter or anything like that. It's like a tool.
I mean, I think later on down the line, and again, we can go over more of that, or like it's like beer and fruits and stuff. We'll go over that, but I think later on, once we get stuff like hard permissions, I think that's what it's called, and tagging and stuff, where people can, tag their content, um, and it just make it a lot easier to filter stuff like that for on like a user basis. What else we got here?
That's what I was looking for.
Oh, large. Oh yeah.
This is like a little bit older version of like the cutout of some of the islands in there too. Sorry, I was also looking for this too earlier. I was like, oh yeah, it's in a folder right next to it. Let's see here. I kind of partially answered this question here, but the Bongmaster asks, current Dawn Cloud Home is pretty heavy at the moment. Will it be optimized in the future? Yesn't. As in, you'll be
It's
able
weird too
to
because
choose what kind of cloud home you want to use, but we'll probably make a new cloud home that is more like optimized and lighter in its content, but it'll still be very much interactive.
I will say that there is also like a back and forth with this too. I think that where the cloud home is right now, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but I think it's a good middle ground between how much content people want in it to wow people and how much is not there so that it's not as like heavy. It will depend on the kind of computer you're running, how well that world runs or not. Um, but we don't really have like a terrain in there. It's just the building for the most part. Um, so we don't really want to remove too much because then when a new user comes in, they see that cloud home, it's going to look barren to them. But for people who have been playing for a while, they may not need some of the flashy stuff or things like that. But that's why we allow people to customize their worlds.
For this next question, I'm going to go into the Resonite wiki again. And use share. Okay, that's not the wiki, although it leads to the wiki. There we go. Alrighty, now I can just screenshot this again.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to ShareX. This is a really good software to take screenshots. Alright, this one is from TomTam. Also, you said that the Resonite assets are CC by 4? CC by 4.0.
Yep. You can read the license on the wiki or right here.
This is the wiki. Yep.
Yep.
And it actually links to. Actually, I should probably make it link to the actual CC by 4.0 license on the website, the official
Mm-hmm.
copyright license website that has that definition.
And this goes for any of the official content we've made. And like I was saying, unless stated otherwise, everything we put out is going to be under that license. Um, if a team member makes a personal project, it will just be whatever license that they say it's going to be using for that point. But any official content made by the art team, it should be covered by the CC BY license.
This is another question here from Kestrel Blades. Maybe that island should be the basis for a community hub world? Potentially. We'll have to do some drafts for it. But a lot of
I,
these. Go ahead.
I think upgrading it and making it like a little bit more fleshed out, it would be a good group home
Yeah, having a
because it would be big enough.
larger space for people to walk around and explore. Because we're not at that point. We're not gearing towards beginner users that would be, struggling to traverse things. They would be more used to doing things at that
Yeah,
point.
and it would be assuming like a group of people as well, since group
Yeah,
home implies that there's going to be more than one person there generally. Plus, we're much better at making islands now, or at least rock stuff.
and environments in general.
Mm-hmm.
And like one thing we can look at for like references for this stuff is things like how um, Gmod like sandbox worlds are designed, or like community worlds in like games that have sandbox elements in it. We have like building spaces, hangout spaces, maybe even a place where people can put games or interactive elements in, and like having like an area where people can fly aerial vehicles or drive ground vehicles or whatnot if they want. That'll be cool. That'll be
Plus, I'll
like
get to
a
work on another nature map.
yeah. And another one from Kestrel. Maybe have docking stations or platforms for cloud homes or ships. That'll be pretty cool. And what they refer in regards of domains, that's like seamless transitions into multiple worlds. From like traveling from one place to another. Imagine an open world where it's built out of multiple worlds. And then you can take like a vehicle or just simply walk there or teleport to another location, which is like an actual world that is like
Mm-hmm.
being hosted. Oh, Tobbs asks, "What's Wyvern doing here?" Earlier, people were talking about Wyvern and the spelling of it compared to like Discord Wyvern and all that. And it's like, oh, I'm curious on what the actual uh, icon of it looks like because someone said that the icon is a dragon. And technicalities, a dragon has four legs and two wings, or well, however many wings it has. And this is the wyvern uh, logo or icon or whatnot. Has four legs and two wings. It's a dragon. It's not a wyvern. And for example, Skyrim has wyverns and not dragons. They have two legs, two arms. That's all.
Well, I wonder if it's like the whole square thing, where like a wyvern's not a dragon, or like sorry, a dragon's not a wyvern, but maybe all wyverns are dragons, like squares, rectangles.
Oh yeah, not every rectangle is a square, but every square is a rectangle, and they all go in a square hole. A circle, that'll go in a square hole. A triangle, that'll go in a square hole.
Also, for this next question, I did check. Um, I did not see any worlds labeled Mist, or at least that contained Mist in the name. Um, so unless they've called it something else or anything specific, I have not seen a Mist-focused world yet.
Probable Prime has made puzzle worlds in the past before, inspired by Myst, including one where you spawn in a world. You can't do anything except for very specific things because you're locked inside a kind of like a human-sized like circular cage, which is a reference to the second Myst game, because that's what happens when you're in the second Myst game, because
There
you
was
start
another
off in
person that made
there.
a bunch of puzzle maps too. Who was that? trying to remember their username because they did some cool puzzle maps that
Yes.
actually spanned over multiple worlds. I think it was like was it Innocent Thief?
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Maps made by them are pretty cool. I remember helping them out with some of their puzzle stuff back in the day. Multiple like puzzles through multiple maps, and they even collaborated in. I think there was one puzzle thing they were doing where they asked people to let them put puzzles in their world, or like a version of their world, so that it's different styles, different things you have to do, and there's like a whole route for it.
I've been wanting to
Kind of
do
like an ARG.
puzzles as well too, kind of like an ARG as well too, for a
Mm-hmm.
while, but just gotta like actually write that stuff down and like design it.
Dunes used to have a puzzle in it. Um, Back in when I first uploaded it, there was a line of sight puzzle that activated some change in the scenery, but it's not there anymore.
This question is from Flak3715. I just tuned in, sorry, but what group home? So technically, each in Resonite you have a functionality called groups, kind of like similar to how you have like a group in like a Discord or in like a Reddit subreddit where it's like a group forum or group like stuff like that. A lot of that stuff hasn't been developed yet, but right now it's a group storage system and world system. Now you can have group worlds that are like owned by that group, and anybody within that group can access those worlds and edit them and update them or delete them. Same thing with the group folders. Now, unless if you make part of that group folder public, like a shared folder, then that part of the group folder, or even a group world, if you publish that world, will be public.
Mm-hmm.
Or it would just be
It's basically just like your inventory, but multiple people can access it and use it.
and
So
contribute to it, whether it
it's
be
also shared like um, allocated storage. So if one person has like a terabyte, but the group storage has I don't know 50 gigs, they will still be using the 50 gigs from the storage, whatever they put it.
yeah, and it's also tied to uh, our subscription and support tiers as well too. So depending on what tier, it gives you a certain amount of storage for groups as well. And I think also how many groups you can run to or contribute to. Um, there's a lot more detail with that with the subscriptions and all that, but regards of supporting us, it's better off to support us directly using our subscription service that is powered by Stripe rather than Patreon because we get uh, more. Basically, you save money and we get more money out of it too. For example, if you get like the lowest tier on the Stripe style system, you basically save $2 and you only have to pay it annually instead of monthly for $1.
Yep. And just to like touch on what I just was saying about like we get more out of it. It's like between or compared to Patreon, they take a larger cut out of the money that you try to send to us than what Stripe does.
Especially with lower tiers.
Yep. So you basically pay the same amount, and then like if you take the annual one, we actually pay less, and we still get more out of that in the long run.
Yeah. Currently, in regards to within Resonite, there isn't really a default group world home yet. Or unless it was reusing like another world at first and then it's just a blank world right now. Just so that we can like have time to basically work on the entirety of the new design that we want to do with refining the art style, working on the tutorial, working on a new cloud home, and we can then design out ideas and concepts of the new group world as well alongside it. But it is a big task for that. Or actually, a lot of multiple tasks for like one main goal. Ah, we have further clarification on the question and context. I thought it was some kind of system similar to a VRC public instance as a homeworld. Is there anything like it though? Sharing a homeworld with multiple people, so it doesn't create a new instance every time you go to it. At that
I mean,
point,
if you have a world in the group and you open that world in the group and someone either looks at it from the world browser, or actually, yeah, if they look at it from the world browser or from their contacts, they'll just see your session first rather than it asking them to make like a custom session.
so with how VRC does it, it's all via their servers. You're connecting to a session all the time, but you're not making your own. And here you can create a headless session as well too, which is like a host server like system that doesn't do any of the rendering. It's just like a server client, and you run it, and you can put any kind of worlds you want to run on it, and there you go. Pretty much have the same thing. It's just
And if you only want it, sorry, go ahead.
when you're going around in worlds, you're actually opening up new instances unless if you're actively looking at a headless host or someone who's hosting a world, you join onto them instead of creating a new instance. But you always have that option of creating a new instance if that option is available by the world author. And that way it saves us pretty much bandwidth for not having to host all these different worlds constantly on a system. That way, a lot of it is peer to peer, and either once we get, because we do want to do this too, is actual hosted worlds for like new users and people to hang out or build or play games or
Or even
socialize.
just world hosting in general, like official service would be great. Like where
Yeah.
we can have someone request one be spun up, just have it activate on the spot. The other thing you can do with like what are they called, headless servers or headless hosts, is if you want that world to be open like 24/7 and only people from that group to enter it or be able to enter it while still having the world public, you can just set that world to contacts and then make sure that that headless server account is uh, only has the people that you want to join and added. So then to them, to those users, it'll be public, but everyone else it'll just be private. Yeah, having the ability to like spin up servers on the fly is definitely something we want to do in the future. It'll be really nice for like if people want to set up events, they don't have to worry about hosting it themselves and just send a world.
Near future, we'll have our own kind of like public sessions that are hosted pretty much constantly, and that way it's a good place for mentors to seek new users that go into the platform and would like to either find people, socialize, or learn how to bring in their avatar, find games or other worlds, or just, you know, build or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and probably have like a several sets of worlds, like maybe one that is like geared towards, anything goes, where it's like building or socializing, and then one is like more socializing or playing games and stuff like that, rather than like with building. That way people can have a choice of what they want to do. In regards of like us actual server service, that also would require getting the framework and the stuff set up for it in due time.
Yep. I believe that was our last question as well.
Yes.
But thank y'all for asking your questions, and hopefully we're able to answer them.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much a good time to start winding down. The
Mm-hmm.
yeah, every time we do these streams, you can always ask a question in the chat, But like I posted in the Discord for the notification of this, you can ask questions ahead of time if you miss it, or if you can't make it, or whatnot, or you just want to ask your question ahead of time, anyways. You can post it in the forum post that's linked into that notifications under office hours updates, and it'll go to the forum post there for the next office hour, art team office hours. The date is on the name. And
Yep.
just
And we try
ask.
to answer those questions first at the start of the stream.
Yep. And every Wednesday around 5 p.m. CST, we do the art team office hours. Of course, there's information on this on the Discord and in game in the Resonite Essentials. You can find right in the main folder there the events facet, which shows a list of everything that's going on there.
Mm-hmm. There's also a similar events list on the Discord to show when it's happening on there as well, in case you're not in Resonite.
Yes. And to kind of highlight some of the other office hours, there were some moderation questions today, so it'd be a good time to go on Sunday, which has the moderation office hours on there, hosted by Veer and Canadian Get, as well as Fruxius and Cyril do the Resonance Podcast office hours, also on Sunday, about 2 hours after. And Probable Prime does theirs on Tuesdays on Discord, although I do know they're going to be transitioning the office hours to Twitch as well, probably starting next month. And I do know there's a few others too, like J4 does their Purple Hour, as they call it, on their own kind of like self-hosted setup too. Yeah. Oh, here's one more question, follow-up question from Flack. Do I have a question about that event board? Is it possible to register an event? Yes, there is. So, it is a event system that a community member named Brodock has created. Now, let me go into the website here. Man.
Yeah, basically there's a website. You'll follow the link for it. I think the link is in Discord. I can't remember where it is exactly. But that will take you to a web page, and I believe from there you can set up an event or like submit one to be added.
Where's my mouse here? Hold on.
I believe there's also Discord integration for those kind of things. So if you have a Discord server and you want to set up an event for your Discord server, you can also have it work with the event system. That way, they'll coincide together.
Yep. And this is the website right now. So, if you miss it, once I've done fixing my chair here, you can always look at the VOD on Twitch and also on YouTube once I get to uploading it too. I already made the forum post for next week in the same post for the notification of the stream for today. So, yeah. Actually, I'll leave it up here while we showcase our supporters, as we mentioned earlier too. This board right here shows both supporters of our Patreon and our direct subscribers as well too. And as well,
thank you so much for supporting.
Thank you, everyone, for helping us. And these are highest tier supporters right here. There's many, many more than just these. And it's even more of a wall of text of users than just these. If we included every single one. And you can access this directly in the Resonite Essentials as well too. It's a little bit older version that shows like the general uh, list of users as well. Which, for example, you can
Both
see.
of these update live, by the way.
Yep,
So when people join, it immediately pops up. If they were to do that on stream, it would literally pop up here right now.
that's a lot of like
So
names to the point where you can see a pattern in the. I forgot what
the
effect that.
aliasing.
It's not just the alias effect. You can see this in real life too if you look at like a screen door. I forgot what it's called, but it has an actual term. You can probably look it
Isn't
up.
that just constructive interference?
I don't know. But it's really interesting to see even in the camera. But yeah, thank you all. See you next
Everyone have a
week.
good day.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.